7 here, this uses the idea of similar solids. And just to do a quick review of similar solids, we know that if two of the measurements, like corresponding measurements, are a over b. So for example, if you're talking about two spheres, you're talking about the radius, or you're talking about a cube, you're talking about the side length, or if you're just talking about, in this case, a rectangular prism, the two shortest sides would come in a ratio of a to b. If that's the case, then the ratio of the surface areas is just the square root of that, or the square of that, a squared, b squared, and the ratio of the volumes is the cube of that, a cubed, b cubed. But it all is dependent upon this AB. So the way we solve these problems is usually to get it back to the AB form and then square or cube it based on what we need. So in this case, you're given the surface area of two similar rectangular prisms is 128 and 768. That means that a squared over b squared equals 128 over 768. Well, since both of these are squared, we can take the square root of those. Well, before you take the square root of those, you really need to simplify. And so if you divide 768 by 64, it actually does divide nicely, and you get 12. And actually, it looks like 128 goes into 64, and so 128 goes into 768 exactly 6 times. And so we can first, before we do the square root, so this is going to be over b, you're going to have the square root of 1/6, which is just going to be 1 over the square root of 6. So that is a over b. And it says, if the volume of the smaller prism is 100, what's the volume of the larger one? Well, the ratio of the volumes is going to be a cubed to b cubed, so we need to cube both of these. And that's going to give me 1 over, well, 6 root 6 times root 6 times root 6 just turns out to be 6 root 6. So this 1 over 6 root 6 is the ratio of the volumes of these two cubes. A squared over b squared. So we go through and can use that to say that 1 over 6 root 6 is equal to 100 over x. And so x just turns out to be 600 root 6. So the ratio of the volumes is going to be 600, or the 1 over 6 root 6. And so the volume of the large one must be 6 root 6 times 100, which is 600 root 6.